Okay, year seven. So this is the chord grid that you have to write out for this particular arrangement. It's exactly, or it's the same idea as the 12-bar blues chord grid that you were given earlier this year. All it is a document where you go through and write in the chords that you wish to use out of the three primary triads that we've shown you already. So any of these three. Remember that the purposes for each chord are written in the presentation. All we're going to do is we're going to put them on a sheet that plans out what you wish to do when it comes to actually writing these triads into Sibelius. So you're not going to open Sibelius and then go, well, I don't know which chords I need to use, I don't know what order they're supposed to be in, so on and so forth. Yeah, so the pre-planning of this task is pretty important, and so we need to finish that first. So here's a copy of the chord grid that I've already drawn. You have a copy on a sheet of paper in front of you. This is the first page, and these are the triads that we're going to use. So chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. Just read the instructions. So it says on the reverse side of this page, you'll find a chord grid. There's the reverse side. That's the other side of this page. Each square on the grid represents one bar of music in common time. For those of you playing at home that have been playing now for a semester, you'll know that common time means 4/4, so 4 crotchet beats per bar. So each one of these squares, 4 beats per bar. You can place any of these chords into the chord grid in any order that you like. So you don't need to put them in 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, so on and so forth. You can put them in any order you want. It doesn't matter how they go in, it's up to you. You'll need to name the notes in each chord as you place each chord into the grid. So we can't put a chord into the grid without knowing the notes that are actually in that chord, because when it comes to actually putting them into a Sibelius chart that you're going to have to do in a second, you won't know where the notes are or where they go on the staff if you don't actually know the names of each note. So you've still got to go through and name the notes. And then of course you need to decide whether you want each chord to last for 2 beats or for 4 beats, and we'll show you how to do that. So down here, this is my A section. Remember that the task says that you've got to be able to write in into the following structure. So A, B, A, B. And each section of the structure is 8 bars long. Go back to your chord grid, you'll notice that this is my A section, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then of course there's 8 bars in my B section. For the moment, let's just fill the A section out. So if we're going to be writing a chord progression out in the key of C major, it's always a good idea to start on chord 1. So that's probably a good idea. So here's chord 1. That's what I want to put in. And the notes in chord 1 are C, E, and G. Now, I'm not going to name all of these chords because after a semester of doing it, I would assume that you know how to name the notes in the treble clef and name the notes in these triads. It's probably a good thing to be able to point out that these triads have been written in treble clef. They're not in bass clef, so use the treble clef note naming rhyme to name the 3 notes in each chord. Next, I might decide, okay, I want chord 4. I'm not going to name it. You know the names of the notes, you go ahead and name it. So there's chord 4, and then I'd need to put the notes in. Next, I think, well, I might use chord 4 again, and then I'll go to chord, let's say chord 5. Down here, let's choose chord 1. That might be a good chance to start there again. A bit of familiarization. Then let's go to chord 5, and then chord 4, and then chord 5. Simple. There's my A section. Of course, you will have gone through and put chord 1 and then the notes, chord 4 and then the notes, or whatever. You don't have to put the chords in the same order that I just did. This is purely a guide. You don't need to do the same thing that I've just done. You can go through and you could put them in 3 bars of chord 1 if you wanted to, and then you can put a chord 4 in there. You could put a chord 5 down here. It doesn't matter. You can only use these 3 chords, but you can put them in any order that you want. Then the B section. So now I've gone from chord 5, I might start chord 1 in my B section. Now for this, if you decide that you want to go from having each of these chords being worth 4 beats per bar, you might decide you want to go to 2 beats per chord. So it might be a good idea to go, well, there's chord 1, then I want to have chord 4. So now that I have 2 chords in that bar, I obviously need to be able to name the notes for each chord. So the notes are, I know that chord 1 is C, E, G, and then of course you need to go through and name what chord 4 would be, and that would be underneath here. And I'll name my notes in my chord there. So 2 beats there, and 2 beats there. and then go through and you can complete that however you like. It doesn't take long, but you must complete this first before you move on to the Sibelius. So if you have any questions, put your hand up and I can come around and have a look. But otherwise, once you've done that, you move on to the next step.